Okay, we brought in an SVG graphic and now we're going to attempt to edit some parts of them. So I'm going to select them. I'm going to come over here in my Properties panel in Captivate. I'm going to come down here. In the middle it says Edit SVG, and there's a checkbox here that says, would you like to use Illustrator? I would. I'm going to click Edit SVG. It opens him back in Illustrator here. Now, if you're not familiar with Illustrator, Illustrator artwork is kind of like Legos. There's a bunch of different objects drawn independently, then they're grouped to make like the arm and the head and the shoes and so on. So let me show you just for a second. If I take my selection arrow and I click, I'm getting a hold of the whole group of objects that make him up. Now here's the secret part. If I double click like on this arm, it will go down into the group and go to the next group that was made that I double clicked on, and now I'm in what's called isolation mode, and so this isolates this group. If I double click again on this group, I'll go down further in the grouping, and now I can actually click on individual objects. So now you can see it's filled with this blue. I can come over to my Properties panel. I can click on the fill, and let's say we give him a brown shirt here. Okay. Now I'm just going to put him back right where I had it. Whoops. I must have double clicked and selected an item that was in a group, so I better undo and see if I can, instead of me trying to move it here, let me see if I can go up to the upper left. There's a little arrow that says go back up one level or back up one group level. So let me click it once. Let's click on the arm now. Oh, now this is the group. So we had to go up one level to get this back into a group. I'll put it right over here, put it where I want, click off of it, and there he is with the brown arm. Now I'm going to go to the upper left, and again I can go back up the levels of groups back to the whole grouped man. But if I want to add parts of it, I have to go and double click and work down what's called the isolation mode in Illustrator to get to particular objects or groups. Now, what we can do here also is I want to take this young man and I'm going to double click and I'm going to get a hold of this arm. And I'm going to come up to the upper right corner of this bounding box. You see I get a curved little arrow. So one thing I can do is I can rotate this group. And I can move this group. And I can move it over here. So it appears now his arm has changed position. So now, if this is the position I want this to be in, all I've got to do is go back up my arrow in the upper left and then save this file, because this is actually linked back to the one in Captivate. So if I switch over to Captivate now, I'm going to go Command Tab on my Mac. I'm going to go back to Captivate, and now you see his arm is in a different position. So again, if I want to position this group like his other arm will say, remember to click once, go over to Properties, Edit SVG, click, oh, that's the big group, double click, click, unmove, yep, that's the group. So undo it so you know this is the group. So now I'm going to come over here with my little rotation handle and I'll rotate it and I'll move it over here like this. Move it up a little bit, click off of it. Now I have a problem. Let's see if we go up the levels, will his arm go behind his body? No, now that's odd, isn't it? So now I need to somehow go back and get a hold of that arm group. There it is. Now here's something you don't know about Illustrator. Objects are stackable, and the last objects drawn are the ones that are on top of everybody else. So this whole group needs to be moved to the back. So I can right-click, arrange, and send this group to the back. And then click off. If you've worked in PowerPoint at all, that's the same thing there, where you have items or objects that are stacked. You can send them to the back, you can bring them to the front. So here we go. We've got this guy all set. In fact, while I'm here, let me double click on this arm again, and I'm going to try to put it back to the blue I had. Well, I could guess, or maybe let me try to cheat here and get my eyedropper. Here it is. And see if I can click on this, even though it's not selected. Now what I can do is go back to my arrow, and I'm just going to go up the levels till I'm on the top level where he's at, like this, and we're in good shape. Let's say that's good enough. Let's go ahead and save it, and go back to Captivate, and there he is. He's been updated. Let me move him over a little bit. Okay. So at this point, there's just another little mini lesson I wanted to give you on manipulating, we'll say, vector artwork by way of Illustrator and then using it in Captivate. Thank you very much, and we'll pick up on another lesson in a second.